What did it take for you to realize that you had to detach yourself?
It's interesting because I think also it's very you can find a lot of analogies to my journey as a manager because I was a developer, I think for
Mhm.
even 8 years, and I didn't want to take even promotion. I didn't want to be a team leader. I love technology so much, so I wanted to code and write and build. And then when you start to manage people, there's the human aspect, and people are not deterministic functions. You input the same thing, and people behave different. You kind of learn this as a manager. It's not, and same goes here. I think that mindset when you go and talk to customers, yeah, you do the first mistake is you want to talk and talk and talk about your product. And what I want to say that I quickly learn, but probably not as quick as I should. But at one point I say, okay, you know what? Let me listen to the customer. Hey, what are your pain points? What are your problems?
Yeah.
And then try to find, okay, what do I already have that solves it? What do I already have that is close to it? What do I have that I can iterate and build into the product? I think once that happens, you understand that you need to move yourself from the engineering technology plane to the customer plane.
This is episode 145. One of the most common bottlenecks every entrepreneur faces is the inability to let go as the company grows. Ori Keren, the co-founder and CEO of LinearB, a software delivery management for engineering leaders, refers to being able to detach yourself from your business. By detaching, it means you free yourself from personal biases and emotional attachments that can cloud your judgment and turn you into the bottleneck in your business. Breaking free provides clarity, allowing you to make strategic decisions, harness your team's expertise and experience so you can solve problems and seize opportunities. Join our conversation as Ori shares his entrepreneurship journey and how he brought his product to life from concept to a successful business. Bottlenecks are real and you should not underestimate the impact on your business. The Bottleneck Index can help identify your potential bottlenecks and their outcome and provide practical solutions to overcome them. You can find the link to access this valuable resource into the show notes. Now, let's dive into the conversation with Ori, gaining insights into product development strategies and letting go. Hello, Ori. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's get into it. I look a little bit, on your profile on LinkedIn. That's my favorite go-to place, LinkedIn. And I came up, on your profile, you wrote about this formula that you call ETA, which is not about estimated time of arrival. Can you tell us what ETA is because it is at the core of what you do today, and how did you come up with it?
Yeah. um, it's sort of like a way to remember the three pillars that are important to what we do. So
Mm,
we're a software delivery management platform. We can talk about what it means exactly. But at a very simple, to put it to simple words, we're saying that in order to be able to get a holistic picture of the R&D organization, you got to cover three areas. Experience, which stands for the developer experience. Part of like being able to understand if your tech organization has everything they need in order to be successful is to make sure you have a strong developer experience. What it means is that developers can achieve end-to-end tasks very easily. They don't have to wait for, I don't know, a testing environment a lot of time or deploy to production. It happens once every month or so. So develop E stands for experience for developer experience. T stands for the tempo, um, which I like this word because every engineering organization has their own internal cadence, And in our space, in our field, you have the Dora metrics and other metrics that help you understand your internal cadence. So like your internal tempo and how you operate it. It goes a little bit above developer experience. So it's a bit more for managers to kind of understand. And A is there, and that's the A is there, so we don't forget that an engineering organization is part of the business, and you got to be aligned with the business. So it's a business alignment. It's the alignment piece where, at the end of the day, engineering, usually engineering and sales are the biggest organizations in SaaS companies. So you got to show that you're aligned with the business and how you uh, assign people to projects and how much they're costing you. So ETA is like a fast way to remember those three pillars. I I don't know, like my mind. I think we spoke. My mind is like things always like in okay. Let's come up with three things that kind of will summarize it. And
Yeah,
ETA was a good acronym because every developers know that ETA is like estimated time for arrival. So now it's another thing as well.
yeah. So this is your engineering mind talking. I think, and it's interesting because you serve like a special beast developers, but you also come from this engineering background. And I've seen a lot of startup founders who also have that same type of background than you. And to answer my question, do you think it is an advantage or is it a drawback to as a startup founder to have a background in engineering or development?
I think it's definitely an advantage. It's I think the biggest companies, if you think even in the world, are
Mm,
with people that came from technology, understand technology, but were able to make this shift and leverage their understanding in technology and how you translate it into great business. Um, so it is an advantage if you know how to capitalize on your knowledge. And as a CEO, detach yourself from your. Sometimes you want to have people back into the engineering decisions. So that's something you shouldn't be doing, or you can contribute from your previous knowledge. But if you know how to do that, I think it's a big advantage coming with engineering background, with and understanding how technology works, and you can translate it into product features, use cases, and of course, put the right go-to-market strategy on top of that. Um, so usually it's an advantage. That's how I see it, at least in my case.
do you see uh, do you see common mistakes that you know other engineers do when they start to launch their own company?
Sorry, can you ask again? Common
Sure.
mistake that who does?
Do you see common mistakes that other engineers do when they launch their own company?
Oh, so you're saying, do I see common mistakes when
Yeah, or common
founders that
common
were
yeah
engineers
yeah or
before
common
do?
patterns.
Yeah, yeah. I don't like. I like to talk about myself. Even the mistakes that I did early on
Yeah.
were more in the area of finding fast that transformation, that engineering is like a critical condition for success,
Mm,
but it's not the but it's only the beginning. If you don't have a strong product and strong technology, it's like almost you gotta have this thing, but it's only the beginning. So in the first, it's very natural when you start a business and you were an engineer before to be gravitated to a lot of the product and the technology decisions, which is fine. I think in the first year or two when you're searching for product market fit. But I think a common mistake is okay, now is the right time to detach myself from that.
yeah.
Are people running the, and now we need to kind of iterate on more with customers, more with, okay, great, we sold it to one or two customers. How do we make it repetitive? Okay, great. How do we scale? So I think that the moment where you need to kind of identify that you gotta detach yourself a little bit from those decisions is important.
Yeah.
That's a
And
mistake.
that's
That's the mistake that I've seen people doing, and starting with me.
yeah. And this is great because it ties immediately into the bottleneck. What I see a lot. I don't call it detach yourself, but it's kind of the same. What I see a lot is engineers, especially who are getting lost into that technical solution because they can't detach themselves from it, and instead of speaking the customer language, they keep on speaking their product language, what they know of. So they always like put have a single vision from their own perspective instead of trying to understand the product from the customer's perspective. What did it take for you to realize that you had to detach yourself?
It's interesting because I think also it's very you can find a lot of analogies to my journey as a manager because I was a developer, I think for
Mm,
even 8 years, and I didn't want to take even promotion. I didn't want to be a team leader. I love technology so much, so I wanted to code and write and build. And then when you start to manage people, there's the human aspect, and people are not deterministic functions. You input the same thing, and people behave different. You kind of learn this as a manager. It's not, and same goes here. I think that mindset when you go and talk to customers, yeah, you do the first mistake is you want to talk and talk and talk about your product. And what I want to say that I quickly learn, but probably not as quick as I should. But at one point I say, okay, you know what? Let me listen to the customer. Hey, what are your pain points? What are your problems?
yeah,
And then try to find, okay, what do I already have that solves it? What do I already have that is close to it? What do I have that I can iterate and build into the product? I think once that happens, you understand that you need to move yourself from the engineering technology plane to the customer plane, and move there. And it's almost like if you go too deep into the, because my favorite moment sometimes is still okay when the R&D folks are pulling me in, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I can quickly go into the even the engineering thoughts of how to build it. And then I stop because if I go too deep here, it's like um,
you get lost.
I'm gonna lose like the customer mindset. And I I know it's hard hearing it sometimes because when I was a developer, I didn't like it.
Yeah,
But my job is sometimes to say, hey, this is what the customer needs, and your job is engineers is like tell me if it's possible and not, and how to build it, and it's fine. This is how the this universe should work.
yeah. Put the customer at the center of everything you do, and not the product. And
Yes.
that's how it's supposed to be. Were there like a specific moment? Do you recall a specific moment where you were like, okay, that's it, enough. I need to listen more to the customers now.
Yeah, it's hard to put it's hard to put the fingers on a specific moment, but I think like a trend early on that we saw with our product was that um, gave a lot of value, but to a very specific persona. And by listening to, early on, we had like, even in the first year, we had like 15 design partners that became customers, and everything was great. But I think once we listened to them enough, we saw that in order for this business to continue to grow and be sticky, we need to change something. My partner and I. That's a moment where it hit me. Okay, I'm hearing this from 10 customers. They love the product, but they want their entire team to consume it. And that's the moment I say, okay, we got to iterate on the product. And my mind was immediately saying, if I'm an engineer and my manager or my pro lead of product or my founder is now coming to me and say, remember what we built? Well, it's only 20% of what we should be building. We need to
Mm,
continue to do that. As a developer, I would say, what? Like what? But as a founder, it was the right moment to acknowledge that, to understand it, go back to our team, explain, provide all the context of why we took those decisions, and just continue to iterate. So again, maybe not a specific moment, but I recall that very strongly. Like at the end of the first year, a lot of success, yet we decide to do big changes because we thought long term. So that's like a
mm,
moment I remember.
right. And then you had to talk to customers yourself, because I hear a lot of funders with an engineering background like yourself who don't want to talk to customers. What? I don't know if you see the same. If you agree with me, but what do you say? What would you say to people like that?
You have to talk to customers. Just like in simple words, you
Yeah,
have to talk to customers as much as possible. That's very simple.
yeah.
Oh,
How do you
it's not, I
start?
don't know how to say it differently. It's very
Yeah,
simple.
yeah.
Talk to
But
your customers.
where do you start?
When do you start?
Where do you start, or how do you start?
Let me tell you, like when we built our product, um, we actually iterated on the product and
Mm,
iterated on talking to the customers side by side. My founder Dan was like, I'm based in Tel Aviv, he's based in the US. So it was good because each one of us was independent and we iterated on them. We iterated on talking to customers even before we had a product. We had just like, small POC, like you give us access, we give you a PDF or something like that. So you start before you have a product. You start
right.
right away talking to customers
Just
all the time.
start. Don't wait. Whatever it
Don't wait.
takes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like uh, like when you think about, hey, when should I start exercise? Yeah, the answer is now.
Don't get me started. Yes. One of my favorite topics. But you're absolutely right. And what I hear also you saying is you had to evolve your role also, which is another bottleneck. The fact that CEOs don't evolve their role as the company grow. That you went from the engineer, the product manager to the CEO role. From doing it yourself to having people do it for you. Are you Do you still do a little bit of programming yourself?
Actually, no, in the last 2 years, no. Even up to last years, I was still
Yeah.
writing some stuff. I even said to begged my R&D team, hey, give me small tasks that I can just stay in
I
touch.
miss it. I miss it.
But now, yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, I'm doing like a course on the side. A lot now. LLMs excite me, and I wanted to kind of understand. Hey, what happened that gave us all of a sudden this boost in technology that ChatGPT is possible? So
Yeah.
I'm taking some courses just to stay close to it. But to push code to production right now, it's like I can't do it. It's like I have context switches every 30 minutes.
Yeah. And was that transition difficult for you?
The way I see it, a company that grows fast as we grow, my job, I mentioned it in a couple of times, but I read this great post that I gotta go and look again because I don't remember who wrote it. I just remember
Mm,
that it was great because that CEO, every end of the year was writing a job description for the CEO of the next year.
mm,
And then it would say, am I the right person to do that? And if the answer is yes, what do I need to change in my behaviors and how do I run my company? Because it's a different role. I actually think in a startup that moves that fast, it sometimes changes every quarter
yeah.
or every 2 quarters. So I try to do it, every quarter is like a sprint or then I stop and say, okay, what do I need to do in the next quarter, and especially when the year ends, like in the next year, what do I need to change in order to be a good CEO that enable my people like to be great and in the company to be great? Sometimes in the early times, it means okay, being a lot of details. And as you grow, it's about having a strong executive team and making sure that everybody is like at their function is pulling the company up. So it
Yeah.
just changes all the time.
Yeah. This is you have to share with me this the reference, the book reference,
I'm
because
go-
this is
yeah, it's a blog post. I'm gonna find it
right.
and
Yeah,
and, and
because
send it
this
to
is
you.
exactly on point with the bottleneck. It's like when I talk about bottleneck, I really talk about the bottleneck that you have that you create yourself in your mind, because we are our own enemies, and so it requires for you to make sure that your role constantly evolve. You change your job description, like you were saying, as the role evolve. To you today, I'm curious. So how strong is the bottleneck with you?
Oh, I still think it's like I think all the time. I think like next we're close. We're about to finish 2023.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think I need to think with myself like how do I we're 100 people in the company right now.
yeah, it's a lot.
And I'll give you an example. I have this thing that I think I should meet everybody in the company. So it used to be every, when we were small, every week I met with for an hour. We were
Yeah,
5, 10 people, okay? And it became every quarter for 30 minutes and it changed over time. But I still keep this habit. Every now I think it's like with some people it's every quarter, some it's every 6 months. I meet people like 30 minutes, very open conversation. And some people are saying, hey, you can't do it. Like we're gonna be it doesn't scale at one point. I don't know. I know that I'm gonna face this question. Should I continue to do that? It gives a lot to me. It gives a lot of things to the people. They can share context directly where the company is going. That's one example of, hey, should I be still doing that? It's even possible. I also have the ability to get into details.
mm,
Um, I know if you talk about buttons, I'm sure you heard it like in the past. Um, it could be an advantage and a disadvantage. So I think one of the of like how I release myself from the button is even though I can do it, can get into the details of a specific cell,
yeah,
a specific feature, is to choose at very rare occasions where I choose to do that. Okay, let's get into specifics because I want to learn. I used to do it on everything. So that's just two examples of like those bottlenecks and how you kind of like overcome them.
yeah. Is there this is great. This is great examples. I do have answers for both of them. If you want to hear them, I
Of
can tell you.
course, I want to hear. Yeah,
The first one you should. The second one you should continue talking to a lot of people, as many people as you can, because this is your job. And the second one, you should spend, you know, let your team go into the details as much as you can.
yeah. Let me ask you. Let me ask you a question back.
Yes.
So, should I never do it? Should I never dive in? Because sometimes that's the. It's not in order to say to, because I totally see what you get. Like delegation is so important. Trust the people. Build like an organization. We, if I wasn't able to do it, we wouldn't reach the point that we are. But part of my technique is okay, I'll go up and then okay. In this specific case, let's drill down. So every now and then, I think that it is important not to say, "Hey, I don't trust you," but but in order to, "Hey, I want to have like a detailed conversation with you and contribute to you in this area," and then I'm gonna go back and leave you alone so I
Yeah.
can contribute a little bit of my experience. So I think I should do that, but do that less.
Yeah.
It
But
helps.
but you raise a great point. You said I don't want to. Don't want to believe that I don't trust you. That's really important. When you do it, then people are like, oh no, again, we don't need him. Then you're not building their trust. But maybe what you
Exactly.
should be what you should be trying is showing to them how, if you're really good at that, how to do it. So educating them so they can do it, and then they do it even better than you, so you don't have to do it anymore.
Makes sense.
So the long term. This is the I'll put my coaching hat on.
No, I like it. Thank you very much.
So going back to you as the entrepreneur, um, you already mentioned some lessons. Detaching yourself, leveraging on your knowledge, on your product knowledge. What have you learned about yourself?
It's I've been a manager for a lot of times,
Yeah,
for a long time, and this is a lesson I keep learning every time. And I'm doing this mistake less, but I can tell you that we talked about the example of, okay, let's drill in and figure out the details here. I've learned that even though I see myself as a very simple person, it's like I don't think I'm like super smart more than
mm,
other people. I'm perceived with power or something like that. I don't see myself this way. If I look at the mirror, I see a simple person, but People see myself different. It's a lesson that every manager learns very early on, but it's just super amplified when you have 100 people working in your company. And so I learned that, yeah, it's going back to the same points. If I'm in a conversation, yeah, I'm curious. I want to hear the details and I want to help, but it doesn't come with a price. Like you said, I got to tell, hey, I'm doing this because I just want to help you guys. It's not because I'm thinking I don't trust you. Not always will convince them. Uh,
Mm.
so I learned that. That's one thing I learned. I learned that, yeah, the sometimes the best move is to, if there's a very important conversation, the best thing that I can do is not be there. Super simple.
The- this
It
is a
took me
great.
some time. It took me some time, but it's an important conversation. The right people are in there. The best thing that I can do is just not be there because it. And I've seen it open it up and things moving. So those are things
Why
that
are you
two
saying that?
examples. Because it's a, and again, can give an example with three very smart people in a room.
Yeah.
When four of us were kind of like brainstorming, everybody, um, you know, so I learned to speak less, by the way. I was speaking first.
Mm.
So I learned to speak less sometimes in those scenarios because everybody, you think that everybody is objective, but of course you have an impact. So people, maybe some people have this character that they want to, yeah, let's align with what the CEO said. So I learned when I'm in discussions, I'm going to speak less, the last a lot of times, and even better, I can remove myself from those discussions so they can speak freely how they think without the bias of trying to, because you want diversity in the thoughts, right? So you
Yeah.
don't want everybody thinking like you.
Yeah. You don't want them to think, oh, damn, the CEO is there. Is listening to every word that I say. So hence I can't say whatever I want.
Yeah, and sometimes, very often, they have better views on what we should be doing, but they won't express myself if I'm there. Even if I think I'm a very easy person
Yeah.
and they talk, no,
Yeah. It's
they
very
should
it's
step
very
away
true.
something. Yeah,
These are some really great lessons. Actually, this what you mentioned. Removing yourself from conversations. I had with a client actually yesterday. We were talking about exactly that. His question was, should I be part of the or should I be part of the conversations? So I will tell him to listen to this podcast.
okay, great.
Have you seen like a big change moving, like, because you have 100 staff today, which is quite significant. Have you seen like big changes or big milestone going from 0 to 100?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of changes. The leaders of the functions that um, can take you up until a certain point are not always the one that can take you to continue to the next point. It's also about what people want. People sometimes, as a developer, I've seen it a lot. They want to be a team leader, and then for some people, it's okay to go. They want to go back to being a developer. That's totally fine. Like, okay, you've been there now. You want to go back to technology. Some people want to continue to climb up. Some people can do it. Some people cannot. So what I've seen mostly with people is like how do you manage those transition points? Um, have a great people and culture leaders. We have a great
Mm,
people and culture leader that can and function leaders that can help you, like, okay, find out who is an individual contributor track, who is in a management track, how can we give them like a good path to progression, um, and hopefully it aligns with what the company needs. So there's so many changes between 0 to 100. Like I told you, every quarter is almost different.
yeah. Yeah. What's the big dream for your business today?
At the end, it's very simple. So I come from software engineering. The product
Yeah.
is helping engineering organizations measure themselves, find the bottlenecks, by the way,
Yep.
in their development process, and help solve them, like with code. And so At the end, it comes down to very basic stuff. I get excited when we build things and people use them to solve problems. It's a very simple dream. So I just
Hmm.
want to do it. It's like the same dream from when you're an engineer and then you're a team leader. Okay, now you have a team of people doing that. Then you're a group and oh yeah, now you have maybe three products that, and now you're CEO. So you're running a business that does that at scale. But at the essence of it, at the core, it's a very simple dream yet, like to help engineering organizations to continue solve those problems. And yeah, of course, if on the commercial side things improve for the business and it continues to grow, that's always on your mind. But still, at the core, the essence of it is that like, just to continue to do that now. People has dreams, of taking the company all the way to IPO, selling the company. I don't think about those things. Let's build a strong business that solves these problems at a very high scale to a lot of organizations. I think it's
Yeah,
very healthy to think about it like that.
yeah. It's about passion and fun. That's what I
Yes,
read in between the lines.
yes.
Would you ever stop?
At this, I'll never say never to nothing, but at this point, I don't see any reason. Like I'm enjoying myself every day. We're growing. We're helping to solve problems. I'm
Yeah,
very passionate about what I do.
yeah.
We have a great team. So no, I don't want to stop.
I understand. All right. I know you're on a tight schedule, so I want to wrap up this conversation. Here's my favorite question, which I ask to every guest. If you had to summarize your experience, everything you have learned into one practical recommendation for other entrepreneurs or startup funders, what would it be?
I think it's like so prepare for a journey, be resilient,
Mm.
hire great people and listen to them. It's like it's two maybe. I'm cheating a little bit, but hey, prepare for a journey because you're gonna fall a lot of times, and also
Yeah,
hire great people and listen to them.
listen to them and remove yourself from the conversations when when it is
Not
necessary.
all the time, but yeah, find the right solution, the right timings to remove yourself from.
Amazing. One last question, Ray. How can people contact you?
Oh, so I'm on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where I'm most active. I'm on Twitter, and of course, our company, Linear B. Everybody that's in software and wants to help, like wants to measure their engineering organization is welcome to visit linearb.io.
All right. Well, again, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
And thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something new about entrepreneurship and bottlenecks. You can download my ebook, 8 Tactics to Thrive. Oh, I'm going to do it again. 8 Tactics to Thrive as an Entrepreneur and move your business forward by avoiding being the bottleneck in your business. You'll find the link on my website, laurentnotin.com/get my ebook. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.